Hey everybody, welcome back to OHKO, a Pokemon VGC podcast. We took a little bit of a holiday break over the last couple of weeks, but OHKO is back and better than ever in 2025. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy holidays for those who celebrate. I'm Joe Brown, joined by my co-host, Sierra Dawn. Sierra, you're out with your family for the holidays. How are you doing right now?
Doing good. Context for people listening, if this podcast episode goes out, my family lives in the middle of nowhere. And I don't mean like, oh, a little bit out of the city, middle of nowhere. I mean up interior British Columbia, middle of nowhere. And we were having a lot of technical difficulties getting my setup, and it wasn't recording. So hopefully, once Joe Brown edits this podcast, he can hear this, and hopefully it should be good. But no, it's been fun. It's been good. There's a lot of snow here, and the snow doesn't go away, and it's like actual winter wonderland. It's very, very cool. All the trees, it's all forest out here. It's a cool vibe. I miss my cats though.
Yeah, of course, that makes sense. But I was actually going to ask you about the weather because, which by the way, anyone, as this episode goes live, or when it is uploaded, I'll be in Orlando, going to Bandai Card Fest. I'm playing in the One Piece National Championship Last Chance qualifier, so I'm not in that yet. Got to try to make it through the LCQ, but I'll already be in Orlando by the time this episode goes live. But I was going to talk about the weather to you because I don't know how it was before you flew out west, but here on the East Coast, it was like 62 degrees the other day, and then it was like 56 degrees, and like we had a little bit of snow. I want to say maybe the like 22nd or 23rd for like an hour, but ever since, besides that, it's been almost like it's pseudo spring right now.
Oh no, it's cold here. It's -10 Celsius right now outside. That was during the day. It might even be colder now. Unfortunately, it is dark, so I can't actually show like out the window, but there is like I am not kidding. It's just winter wonderland. And since they're in the middle of nowhere and it's all the trees, it like I don't know, like even like over 6 inches of snow that just stays, and then every day it just snows a little bit more and that stays. So I don't know. It's very Christmassy vibes out here. It's really cool. Got to go like ATVing like through the forest, and it's like it's surreal. I'll post a picture in the Discord. It's really cool.
Nice. I'm
Yeah.
jealous. That seems like a fun time. I am a snow enjoyer. I don't enjoy like shoveling it as much as I enjoy looking at it, which is feel like
Yeah.
understandable. But yeah, so we got a lot planned for the podcast this week. We're going to talk about our holidays and what we've been up to the last couple of weeks, but of course we'll cap off Regulation H with a little bit of a Toronto recap since we were in there and haven't had a chance
Yeah.
to talk about our experiences there, and then the return to Reg G and our thoughts, what we're excited for, what we're not excited for. But for now, we're going to stay with the holiday themes and talk about how the holidays went. So for Christmas, I just hung out with the family. Did watch some football. We actually made we learned how to make a prime rib. Like my mom went to the store and like we followed the directions. Like usually we'll just get other types of steak, but prime rib it was like more expensive than a normal steak. It had to like take like 3 hours to cook in the oven. It was a weird.
Was it worth it though?
It was delicious. Yeah, it was really fun. And then we also got for Christmas Eve we did crab cakes not crab cakes, crab legs. Excuse me. My mom loves crab legs, so a lot of times for holidays we'll do crab legs, and that's not like the traditional Christmas food, but we like to do like get in there and crack some crab legs. So what were you up to with your family?
So it was pretty chill. So with my family, it was only me up here for actually me and my one sister up here for Christmas Day, with my parents, and then the next day, like my sister, my brother-in-law, my aunt, my uncle, my cousins, and my grandpa all joined up here. So they stayed up for like 3, 4 days, and it was just like ATVing through the forest. We had bonfires, just playing out in the snow. I kicked everyone's butt at Mario Party. We also did No Mercy Uno, and I was told that I was hated very many a times in No Mercy Uno, because if you have over 25 cards in your hand, you lose the game, and you can you can bully somebody, and yeah, it was awesome. And then yeah, just like a lot of eating. We had like so for like Christmas, the next couple of days, since not everyone was here, it was like kind of whatever. We have a Christmas tradition of Eggo waffles and then like whatever bacon on Christmas Day.
Nice.
Great tradition. But then once everyone was here, we did like the whole thing, like the turkey and the ham and all the little sides. So it was a lot of fun. Everyone else has gone home now except for me. Flight prices are really expensive the next couple days after New Year's. So
Yeah.
hanging out till the 6th. So just get to chill, relax a little bit. So it was good though. I got it out of like all things. I got a Pokemon crocheting book on how to crochet little
Ooh.
Pokemon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how to crochet, but
We'll learn. It's a
yeah.
step-by-step process, you know?
Yeah. It looks cool though. So I'm excited to crochet some Pokemon.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna ask if you got anything for Christmas. I'm wearing
yeah.
what I got. My brother got me a new Corsair
Ooh.
headset. It's wireless. Look at
Wow.
this. Look at this. I can go
No
anywhere.
wires to hold you
No
back.
wire to hold me down, Sierra.
Amazing. How is it the wireless life treating
Dude,
you?
so the wireless is like one thing, but like I had like kind of busted headset for a while where like one of the earmuffs was kind of broken. It would only hang on because like my head was holding it together, you know, like the soft part. But if
Yeah.
you take it away, it would fall apart. Um, and these new headphones, like they're I don't know if they're noise canceling or whatever, but if someone's talking to me, I got no idea. Like I can only hear
You're
what's coming
out.
through these headsets, so they're pretty good. I was actually playing. There was one day over the I don't know if it was maybe like the 26th. I want to say it might have been before Christmas that I was playing Civilization 6 on Steam because I'd never played it before. But I owned it on Steam for like $2 during the Steam sale one time, and like I started up at like 8 p.m. and it was literally 9 in the morning when I stopped. So I stopped playing, and just like I'm so immersed with the headset and everything, like all the sounds, and like I saw the sunrise. Like my mom was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, this is intentional. I'm not sleeping because I can't fall asleep. I'm intending to be up. I'm conquering these cities. I'm
This is my
building."
new life now.
Yeah,
This is my world.
yeah. So that was what I did a lot. If I wasn't playing TFT or One Piece, because I was also practicing going to locals and stuff. But and then for New Year's, I told you about this, but my family's tradition, they like to go down to Atlantic City for New Year's, and we went on the 30th, got to stay and like be in the casino, be in the happenings when the ball drops and everything. Pitbull was there. We didn't get tickets to see Pitbull, but he was in the same building, so
You could have seen Mr.
I
Worldwide.
was right. I was so close to Mr. Worldwide. And my mom was like,
Man,
"How?" It's like, "Oh, do you think we would recognize him if he was walking around?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's a pretty like distinguished, like
it's
bald man with
what?
sunglasses. I think you would recognize Pitbull if he was just like at a slots machine or something."
Do you imagine, like, right after his concert, he just goes out to a random slot machine, you just look over, and you're like, yo, it's Pitbull. Like, what?
Ah, he's one of us. You know, that's what you would
How
say.
many
But
bald guys with sunglasses do you think were mistaken for Pitbull?
I think people probably did it on purpose, right? Because he had like a 3 night stay. It wasn't just New Year's Eve. He did like a whole bunch of concerts. So I think some bald guys probably went on purpose, wore a suit and sunglasses, hoping to be mistaken as Pitbull.
How many pictures do you think people have taken with the wrong Pitbull?
Definitely more than zero. I would definitely bet my life that some of those characters that you run into, like my family, they are Atlantic City people, you know. So that's just how we were. That's our culture. That's our Jersey culture. And you know, you run into some characters down at the slot machines and the blackjack tables, and you know, there's some people that like. I've been at like a blackjack slot or table before, like the lady asked us where we were from. Daz was there. This was Atlantic City Regionals back in 2019. And like she didn't like that Daz was British because she was asking where everybody was from at the table and like trying to get the vibe of how everybody felt, like because she didn't want to bet blackjack if the vibe at the table felt wrong. It's like lady, we're playing like $5 hands of blackjack. Like I
I
don't think it
respect the
matters that
dedication,
Daz is
though.
British, you know.
Because just doesn't trust the British people, you know? Just
Yeah.
did
Ugh.
she leave after she found out he was
She did.
British?
She left. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like she didn't like the
Oh my
table. It was like
God.
me, Daz. and a couple
Oh
other
my
Pokemon
God.
people, and like she just didn't like the vibe
Amazing.
that we were from all these different places. Like, why are you not all just from Jersey or Philly or because it was like, sorry, lady, and she went and found another table. But I understand the betting mind, like, oh, slot machine, oh, it's got to hit, it's due. Like, that's how Cleopatra cleaned me out this weekend. I put $100 in at the Cleopatra slot machine. She just cleared me out. But I was like, I had missed so many hits in a row that the logic, the odds that I would eventually hit back and get back to even, it never happened.
There is somebody listening to this and they're like, so relatable, so true, Joe Brown.
Such a
So true.
Pokemon feeling, right? It's like, well, I've missed 3 sleep powders. I'm definitely going to hit the next one.
I'll definitely hit the 4th. Better odds to hit sleep powder than hit the slot machines in Atlantic City, though.
Honestly, hitting sleep powders is arguably more valuable than hitting a slot machine. I'm betting $1 at a time. Sleep powder could win me like $6,000 if I win a regional off of it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You have to kind of hit a couple and maybe a lot more work, but all right. Well, where is our nice little? I was waiting to see if there's like a transition. Hey, okay, so yeah,
Okay.
transition.
You're cooking.
There's a sleep powder. You know who else was using sleep powder?
Who's that?
Marco Fierro at the Toronto Regional Championships.
Ooh, I like that. What a segue. That's why you're the best in the biz at the segues. Yeah. All right,
it took a second, like it's been a couple weeks off podcast, but like, we got there.
We got there. So let's talk about Toronto. Right, it's been a couple of weeks, but we haven't had a chance for us to talk about it. Obviously, it was a big deal. We were both there. Wolf ended up winning. You had the storylines with Marco as well, and the Charizard team, and the rematch and the finals and everything. Sierra's big, big quote unquote hometown regional that you were, passionately defending. So I think I start the conversation with, this is the first thing I said to you when we were in Toronto as well, that I am planting my flag. I am joining Team Sierra in starting the petition for Toronto Worlds, because I had a fantastic time in Toronto. I think the venue we were at was awesome. It could certainly hold a world championship venue. And like, I'm all on your team now. I thought you were crazy before, but now after Toronto, I'm all in on Toronto Worlds.
Yeah. Anyone for context with it, because I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast, but I think I did. Ever since I have seen that the Toronto Regionals has moved from the one building to the convention center, I am convinced 27 Worlds is happening there. I have no inside source. I have not been told anything. This is just pure theory. And I'm so set on it. It has to happen. It is a bigger convention center. It is in an amazing location. It is world quality. And yeah, now you have the Joe Brown stamp of approval. I mean, like, Toronto Regionals is always just a good time. That venue is just awesome. And there's so many different halls in that building that could also be used. Like, yep, it's going to happen. 27. Like, people could like date this back. If it gets announced, they could be like, Sierra said it first.
Yeah.
She knew. She's a knower.
The one, also a big benefit, it'll be in August, so I won't be freezing my face off in Toronto.
I know, it'd be so amazing.
December.
You could walk around outside and like not freeze.
Yeah. I think
it's so good.
I've been to Toronto 4 times now, and that was definitely potentially my favorite experience I've had out of the 4. It might be tied for second. I don't know. I'd have to think about it a little deeper, but like, the hotel we were at was like incredible. What was also weird is like, I don't know if you remember last year's Toronto, the hotel we stayed at was like a very fancy hotel. Like there was like a bunch of parties going on for Halloween, and it was something like $300 Canadian dollars a night, like the hold on your card when you checked in, and like, it was crazy. So I was ready because I saw how fancy this hotel was. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna have another 900 Canadian like be held on my account and brought, given back to me a week later. And it was only like 125 for the whole weekend Canadian. That was the hold or whatever. I was like, oh snap, like that. So like, this venue is awesome. This hotel is fantastic, and it's also not just holding money on my against my account the whole time. I will say the one downside, which is not really a downside, it's more of a confusion, is the amount of escalators it was kind of a bizarre, like I remember what I tweeted, like, what is this, some kind of escalator convention? Because like you had to take escalator up and then another one up and then a bridge over and then escalator down and then turn an escalator down to the middle and then one more down to the actual floor of where we were. It was just like, it was a lot of standing still while I was slowly moving.
Yeah, there was a lot, but considering we didn't have to go outside, which like for December was amazing. Also with the hotel, speak before we move on from the hotel, dude, like it was so nice. I rolled up at 1 p.m. and I was like, I know you guys want to have a room, but I gotta ask if I can do an early check-in. And then the guy like takes me over to like a fan like one of the ones that you're like probably like this is more for like VIPs. And so I sit down, he's checking me in, and then he's like, okay, he's like, I have a room. We can upgrade you to a higher floor. You get to see the view in the CN Tower, and we can just put you in that room right now. And I was like, okay. And
Yes,
it's free,
please.
free of charge. And it was just, yeah. And then I was right next, literally, like, I look out the window, the CN Tower is just right there. I was like,
Oh wow.
awesome. Like, it was very cool. So, yeah. And, like, yeah, I was also the restaurant there, amazing.
Oh my
Good,
god,
good
we
stuff.
had so
Oh
much
my
fun.
God.
We went to that
It
restaurant,
was so
like
good.
we went to the restaurant 2 times on the Friday.
The,
We ate actual
the same
dinner
night.
there. Then we went to the aquarium, jazz night at the aquarium, which was
Yeah.
also a fantastic time. Anybody, if you have the chance, if you're in Toronto, go to jazz night at the aquarium. It was a grand old time. And then when we got back from the aquarium, we went to the restaurant again, and I got the what was it, the lobster
Oh, the
uh
lobster poutine.
the lobster poutine, yes, because I owed Sierra from the predictions for LAIC, so I bought us lobster poutine. We shared it, and it was delicious. They had this
Amazing.
blueberry cider drink in a can, and like me, Sierra, I think TJ also got it. I can't remember if Katie
I
got it.
didn't
Like
get it.
a bunch of us got this blueberry cider that was
Yeah.
delicious. Like um, yeah, everybody was super nice there in the hotel. It was funny when I was checking in, the guy asked me where I was coming from, and I said New Jersey, and he was like, "Oh, is it?" And he was like, "Where is that? Is that near San Francisco?" And I was like, "No, bud." I'm like, "No, it's actually only like literally maybe an hour and 10-minute flight from Toronto, not near
He
San
tried.
Francisco." He tried to relate. I respect it, but I
He
feel like
tried.
if you're if you're a Toronto Canadian, New Jersey, I could have said you don't know where Wyoming or Nebraska or something is, but if you're a Torontonian, you should know New York, New Jersey.
Nah. Nah, actually, no, that's crazy. But nah. But yeah, no, it was like that hotel, the aquarium was super cool. I got to see sharks. Um, yeah, we talked a lot about Arcane because
Yeah,
Chalky was like watching through it. I literally, I asked Gabby to switch me spots at the dinner table so
yeah,
that I could go talk with her husband and Joe Brown about Arcane. So that was, yeah, great stuff. And now, okay, the event, because the event
yes,
was also a lot of fun. This was my first
amazing.
regional this season. And like, I don't know, like some regionals are just kind of like stressy, or some it's like the storylines. This one was just like through and through, like top tier. Like the start of the weekend, I was like, Canada always delivers, Toronto's gonna deliver. The weekend kind of delivered, honestly.
No, absolutely. I think Toronto was probably one of the best, from the competition standpoints, one of the best tournaments we had in the 2024 calendar year, and just all the storylines that we had a lot of fantastic matches and really interesting, like play styles and archetypes that were shown. Like I'm happy we finally got to have Brian Collins on stream. I've talked about his Hard Trick Room team so many times at events, and never gets to work out having him on stream, but he won finally on stream, so that was nice to see. But so many top players in the world that were there, like one of the best top cuts we've ever seen.
Actually,
We got down to top four, and I think it was either Len or Jake that was like, literally no matter who wins, this is an epic story. Like
yeah.
it's either Wolf's 10th or Marco winning another event with Charizard, or Geo winning before he moves to Japan, or
Choppa
Chuppa
defending
doing the back to
Toronto
back.
title.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like we, from a competitive perspective, and hopefully the stream, people watch the stream enjoy it. Like we really did luck out with the gameplay.
Yeah, there's definitely times where like you see a top cut or you see matches happening and it's like, oh man, I don't have anything against this person personally, but like I also kind of hope that like the other person wins because it's going to be just subjectively like better stories or like it's going to make for a better matchup down the road. But yeah, looking at this one, it was like, ooh, like I'm torn. I'm so torn because no matter which way it was, like it was gonna be so cool. And then it's like I like all those people too. And then it was just like, and they're all so deserving and they're all just doing awesome. Like I don't know. And even like we'll get to finals in a little bit, but like even like the non-finals matchups were like really cool and interesting. I mean, Geo being able to like come back literally with the Dragonite,
Yep.
and then he got that moment on stage where like he's holding up the Dragonite plushie and like popping off with it, which was like super, super cool. Even just like the meme day one, like where we got to have Marco versus Wolf the first time, and that was just like the Wolfie contest and like the whole meme to then see it like all come back around. Like it was just like I don't know, it was just really like the matches, just everything. It was just a great time.
Yeah, I feel like I've almost never felt so vindicated in my life that Marco and Wolf met in the finals for us to pull that last round of Swiss on day one. But that's a conversation for another week if that conversation ever comes up again, which I'm sure it will. But
Which y'all are lucking out because I know Joanne really wanted the conversation. It was definitely heated about it before.
The OHKO crew is lucky we did not record the Monday after Toronto because might have had a demonetized episode. That's how bad I was, but we're not even monetized to begin with. But can't lose money you can't make, you know. But yeah, I think what was nice, shout out to the production team allowing us to have our one OHKO match together on Saturday. They moved the schedules around. Jake and Len were cool with swapping the pairings just for one time, which I think people appreciate. I think like the production is like they enjoy the bit. They like when I say like hit the stinger and then the OHKO comes up and stuff. So I always appreciate whenever they can, you know, allow us
Yeah.
to have that little quote unquote free plug, you know.
Yeah, it's nice too because it's like realistically, like we've casted together for quite a bit now, and when people like will think of us, like sometimes they are like, oh yeah, these two like a duo for casting, but realistically, like we both do the same role. Like we both prefer play by play. We're both stronger, I think, at play by play. I can't speak for you, but like
Yeah, I
listening,
would
like
agree.
I think that. So then it's like a weird like because we originally were supposed to cast together and then it got swapped so we'd be in our stronger roles. And I think too, like for anyone that was maybe disappointed we didn't cast together over the weekend, I think that might be something that's happening a little bit more with us not casting together and only being one-offs. Because I mean, again, like I think we both popped off. I think Len and Jake also crushed it. Like everything was better for us being in the preferred roles. Like I don't know, everything just kind of worked. Gabby also crushed it hosting, so
Yeah,
it's nice that
Gabby
we got the little
really
cameo.
crushed it as host. I've
Oh
noticed
yeah,
the last couple times. I think she hosted Sacramento, and then there was another regional she hosted. I can't remember off the top of my head. That like Gabby's been absolutely crushing it on the host role.
but yeah. She's running around everywhere too. Like, yeah, no. Like everyone was on it for this weekend.
Yeah, and then we got our stickers finally. We had them the whole
Yes.
time. We just weren't giving them out, so that was the first time. I think Marcos took like 4 stickers throughout the
Oh
weekend.
my God. Oh, Marco's coming up to us like, can I have a sticker? And then he opens up his Switch case and there's like 4 other OHKO stickers already in there. Like, bro, which like, it was also like, no, I say bro, but it was really heartwarming. And it was just like, it was really nice, like the people that would come up and like ask for a sticker too. And it was also some people that like I'm friends with, but I didn't really know how well they knew the podcast, but they would also ask for one. And I was just like,
Yeah,
this is
no,
so
it was really awesome
nice.
when
So
people would come up like it's like one, they want to say hi, but now they have a reason to say hi, right? It gives them an incentive to come up and talk to us because they can ask for the sticker and start a conversation and stuff. But like I noticed this particularly with Toronto. So I had worked with Len 3 events this calendar year. I worked Portland to start the year, and then Louisville, and then Toronto to end the year. And then we just had we just had Len on the podcast for the Toronto preview, and then Len was my prediction to win LASC, and he got top cut and everything. And like I just love Len. I love working with Len. I have such a blast like working with him as a duo. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know, how Pokemon sees us, especially if, they want to put us back into our traditional play-by-play roles. I don't know who the future, who I get to work with or whatever, but I do really enjoy working with Len. I think he's very smart and like stable, and I'm very like hype and like, so he doesn't bring me down, he like brings me back, you know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
reins me in to keep I can still be excited, I can still be hype about it, but like it's more narrow and it's more excited in particular areas.
Yeah, it's like it's a good balance. It's a good mix. So no, I'm glad. And like Jake, first off, been crushing it lately. But
Yes.
also like working with Jake, like I think we got to cast an event together last year, I'd like to say. But we haven't worked together for a bit. And it was just like, I don't know, it seemed like effortless, like smooth, like I'll like check in like, okay, anything not working for you? Anything, and like
Yeah.
and it just seemed like it was going like good, even with like the little like, okay, I want to get a word in here and like the trust and everything. And it was just like, it was just nice. So yeah, we're good.
Yeah, it was also funny. It was the first time I'd seen Gabby since she got married. Because remember, we had in Louisville, like we had the social media posts of her and Chalky getting married, and I hadn't seen her
Yeah.
since Hawaii. So that was excited. That was exciting to see Gabby for that. We kind of tried to celebrate a little with her, a little with Chalky as well, and like for like how Sierra mentioned, we literally did spend, it had to have been like 2 hours talking to Chalky about Arcane, but he did not he hadn't finished the show yet. So it was very difficult conversations to be like, oh, I like this character because of this motivation and blah blah blah, and like me and Sarah just kept like turning like as he would say things,
Yeah.
and he was like gonna slow burn Arcane, but then because Chalky talked to us that on the Friday night, he went upstairs and speed ran the whole rest of the season so that he could actually finish the show and talk to us about the ending. It was so funny.
Oh my gosh. After traveling back from Toronto, literally, it's just like, okay, one Discord message. Okay, now it's three. Okay, now it's six. Now there's 10. And it was just going off. It was awesome.
He posted a
Yeah.
bunch of Arcane memes. He posted like 15 memes that he
He was
saw on
just
Reddit.
saving them up. Yeah, it was awesome. This is the greatest Toronto recap. We like talked for 1 minute about the competition, and then it's
Yeah.
just been back to the event. You can really tell the holidays have been like,
Yeah, they've been
it's
on
it's
our.
holiday OHKO mode. We just yapping. This
I
isn't
think,
even a Pokemon VGC podcast. This is just me and Joe Brown catching up since Toronto since
yeah,
the
because it's been a while. I know. Yeah, you've been out. You've been, doing your thing in fan. We haven't even like talked as much. I know you've been playing a lot of TFT on your iPad,
Oh my
but
God. Oh my God. I have D ranked so much. I was doing really good. I was like one game away from getting diamond or emerald, whatever the next one is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
after plat. Um then I was just like, you know what? Instead of being good at the game, why don't I just int every single game? And I went all the way back to 0 LP plat 4. I'd
Wow,
like I don't
that
I've forgotten how to play the game. All the timing seemed wrong. I just like it's a struggle, honestly.
I feel
Struggle
like
out here.
I feel like I might have thrown my iPad through a window if if I was one game from Emerald and went back to Platform Zero LP. I'd be a
Dude,
little.
there has been some games where because like up here, like the family's super chill. It's like a lot of like watching TV or movies. Like New Year's Eve, we watched 3 Fast and Furious movies. I don't have the attention span,
And
so I
you're
was
not even a
queuing
movie
TFT the
person,
entire
and you
time. I'm not
committed
even a
to that.
movie. There's been so many movies. There has been so many movies. I do not like movies. All I do is watch movies all day,
Oh, I'm so
every night,
happy. It's
every night.
like it's like a form of torture to make Sierra enjoy what everyone else just
I'm not
naturally
even enjoying
enjoys.
them. I'm just playing TFT. And like what is also just the absolute like cherry on top is well watch them late, but also I'm more used to Eastern time and with it getting like every wall in this house is actually a window. So you see it get dark at 4:30. So
Mm,
once you get to like 9 o'clock and it's just like still pitch black, you're like ready to like knock out. So I'm getting forced to watch these movies. I have to watch the beginning boring part, then I fall asleep when it's actually like good,
getting good. Yeah,
and then I wake up to get spoiled for the end.
I think our audience has
What?
to know your thoughts on Tokyo Drift. If you
Watch that one.
you just watched 3 random ones. It wasn't in order.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. We
I thought you
watched.
were starting from 1 and going through the whole series.
No, I don't even know which ones I was watching. I'm not even gonna lie. I
There
posted
was
on Twitter that I
Cars.
watched 3, and people were like, "I need to know your tier list. I need to know which 3. This is really important." And I'm like, I don't think I can actually post which 3 because I'm gonna get flamed, and this isn't even my choice or my fault.
I was also very invested when I saw your tweet about watching Fast and Furious. I was like, I need to follow up on this. I need to see, because like,
Yeah.
could you imagine you go from like a movie hater to like this savant, and it's all because of Fast and Furious? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. So okay, so watched. I'm trying to figure out which ones that I saw.
who were the
Um,
villains? Do you remember? Because they're always a famous person.
no. So Fast and Furious 6 was the first one. I specifically know it was 6 because we were talking about Paul Walker and like trying to figure out
Yeah,
what his last scene was. So I specifically remember that. Then we watched the spin-off, Shaw and Hobbs, is it?
yeah, with the Rock and Jason Statham. Yep, that's a good one.
Yeah, that was actually, I actually did enjoy that one. That one was like, I thought it was just going to be like boring, but it actually was good. And then I think it was 9. Is there a ninth one? Theory. I'm
I
trying
can't
to.
remember if it's 9 or if it's 8. I don't know what they're at yet.
It was. How does one? I don't think I fell asleep.
All right, well,
Um,
that one's not as good then. It's not as enjoyable.
yeah, I don't know, but I fell asleep and then I got woken up 2 minutes before the new year. So,
There you go, just in time. I think
yep.
for the good of the OHKO audience, you should watch Tokyo Drift and give us your thoughts, because that's
Yeah.
always the one. It's kind of standalone. It's kind of its own, thing. Lil Bow Wow
Is that
was
one
in it.
after 6? Because at the end of 6, there was literally like a little bit of Tokyo drifting, and then we just didn't watch that one.
Oh my God, Sierra, I'm so happy right now. We do not have time to get into the Fast and Furious universe, because I can tell you the timelines and say that yes, it
No.
is, but also no, it is not, and I don't have
Oh, it's
time
one
to
of those.
So Tokyo Drift is the 3rd one that was ever made, but it takes place after other ones that were made after it. It's a long story. When you catch up, we're gonna have a long conversation. You will be chalky with
Is that
Arcane,
why like the
basically.
one guy that because didn't like the one guy die in Tokyo Drift, but then he's in a
Yes,
later
it
movie?
is
As I was
literally.
confused
Oh
because
my
he
God.
died in that little preview, but then I saw him in a later movie and I was like, guess he didn't die. But like,
Oh,
nope, guess he did die.
I'm so happy right now. This makes me so happy seeing Sierra becoming a Fast and Furious fan. Just it's
That's not even it. I'm
a
just
little bit.
confused. I'm
Um,
just confused.
One other movie, asking you if you've ever seen or have you ever heard of the old black and white classic "It's a Wonderful Life," the Christmas movie.
No.
Okay, so that it plays on NBC here in the States every Christmas Eve. It came out in 1946. It's a great movie. I know you're not going to watch it. One, it's a movie,
No.
and 2, it's in black and white. So that's just
Double
double
note.
whammy. That's a
Double note.
you can find it on YouTube in color if that would help you. But
Nope. If
so
it's old, I don't want to watch it.
that's my Christmas Eve tradition ever since I was a teenager. Is at because the movie literally takes place on Christmas Eve, so that's why NBC plays it every year. So at 8 p.m. I watch it with my family, and it's one of the most like heartwarming. Like everybody always tweets about like they cry at the end and everything. So that's one of my favorite movies. So I'd give you that recommendation, but I got to get you through Fast and Furious first before you can start watching
I
the
don't think I'm
black
watching
and
the
white
rest of them.
films.
I don't think I'm watching the rest of them.
Not with that attitude.
Definitely not with that attitude. We also watched the second Jurassic World and the third Jurassic World. We watched
Nice.
Home Alone 2 and then watched Home Alone 1.
What are you doing? You watch things out of sequence. Like you watch
I'm
6, 7, and decide Fast and
not
Furious. Like
not once was I in charge of picking what was going on the TV. The only time I tried to get my parents to watch Arcane, they made it through 4 episodes and then they were like, we don't want to watch this. And they were like super done.
they
So
saw
yeah,
peak and they turned away. from it,
Yeah,
basically.
I was so certain if I got them to the end of episode 3, they would get
Yeah,
invested, and they were invested enough to watch a fourth episode because I told them they could stop after 3, and they watched the fourth, and then they were done, and they haven't picked it up since. So yeah, we
that's a
watched a lot
bummer.
of movies. Also, there was this one movie I fell asleep during it. I think this was actually the movie that I was enjoying the most, and then I fell asleep. But it's called
Hey,
Red One, and it's literally like I don't know, like I haven't
you're
messed with it.
just a
You're laughing
big
like you're
Dwayne
about
the
to
Rock.
laugh at
No,
me.
it's just you're a big Dwayne the Rock Johnson fan, right?
Like
Because the Rock is in it.
no, it was just like it was funny because it was like a Christmas movie, but it didn't seem like one. Within it was like this is the North Pole, but it's
Yeah,
all like security and like I don't know. It was just like a cool take on it. Oh, watch the new Deadpool Wolverine movie.
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
that one I actually really enjoyed that. That was funny. That was a good one. If people haven't watched it, you should watch it. It was
Now,
good.
have you seen the first two, or did you go into the third movie raw? Is this
No, I
another
did.
out of
I did.
sequence?
I have watched Deadpool. I didn't watch some because there is technically a second Deadpool, right?
There's a
There's
second
Deadpool 1
Deadpool
and then 2.
movie.
I haven't watched the second Deadpool movie.
Oh my god, you cannot be helped. You just,
I've watched Wolverine though.
there you go. Okay.
Yeah. And
I
there
also
was
saw
other
Red
people in
One.
the
Yeah.
house that had not seen the Wolverine, so they were very confused. I knew. I was nowhere.
Next year, I'll send some DVDs. I'll mail them to you. You take them to your family. You know.
We don't have a DVD player. What year is this? 2002?
Did your family have like a PS5 or something? Like,
No, they have a Nintendo Switch.
well, I don't know. That doesn't help that much.
Nope.
I don't have a DVD player either, but I do have a PS5, so like I can
No.
put a DVD in on that.
No, we've just been watching whatever shows up on Showcase on TV. I PVR'd Sonic 2 and nobody was interested in watching it.
Oh,
So,
Sonic! I tweeted my experience watching Sonic 3 in theaters. So I am a massive Sonic fan. Like back in the day, Shadow the Hedgehog. Truly, Shadow the Hedgehog is my favorite video game character of all time. Like I'm not even joking. When Sonic Adventure 2 came out, like I was all in on that Shadow storyline. To this day, I
I
must
actually
have.
heard that that movie was actually good outside of just Sonic. Like, it
It
was
was
actually just a well-made movie.
It was, yes, it was a really fun movie in general, and then if you are a Sonic head, it's even better, right? They have different references and nods for you. But like, so I went with my brother, who's also a gamer, right? I must have like bruised his arm the amount of times like there was a reference, and I was just like, oh, look, like every
That's what
time
they said.
I was hitting him like they did the thing, they played the song for the thing, and then they did this for this thing, and like, it was as a Sonic head, it was a great movie. It's also funny that they beat out Disney with the Lion King. More people went to see Sonic than to see Mufasa over Christmas. So I feel like that's a little victory for the gamers, you know.
The victory. Oh
I
my
feel like they
goodness.
could make a Sonic movie, and they are already in production for a fourth one coming out in 2027. Give me a
I wouldn't be
Sonic movie
surprised.
every 2 years for the rest of eternity. I will go to my local AMC for the rest of my life and give my money. I'll get a large popcorn. I'll enjoy it. I'll have a great time every 2 years. You know.
That's fair. Oh, the other movie that I watched, Austin Powers, Gold member, is it? Gold
Gold. Yes. Goldfinger's the original, right? Gold
Goldfinger. Okay.
Member is the Austin Powers version. Yeah, with Beyonce, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen Austin Powers or that one, but
So again, you started on the third film of a
it's the third.
series.
I thought it was the second.
No,
Oh no.
it's so good. Just like you're just no context diving into series and movies. I love it.
Yeah, because I haven't seen it. Oh, I wanted to get a pair of roller skates, and they were rose gold, and they're like, "You look like Gold member," and I was like, I can't be insulted because I don't know who that is, and they're like, "What?" And they literally stopped what was on the TV and put it on right
That's
then
the
and there.
correct thing to do. That is the
Yeah,
correct answer. Because the Austin
yeah,
Powers movies are so good. Oh my god.
it was really dumb.
No, it's awesome dumb. Don't just say it's dumb. It's like fun dumb.
I don't know. I feel like it has to be one of those movies that you have to be in that right, like you gotta
Yeah.
like I don't know, just be in a goofy mindset for. And I was like, I just want to play my TFT game and chill. And then
And
like there
you
was
were
a lot
already
of reference.
insulted because you were called Gold Member, you know?
Well, I wasn't assaulted because I don't know who I was, right? But then my family, it's actually really funny because there's a lot of things from the movie that my mom and my sister do reference on a day to day. They have for years, never understood why. Like Baja. Can you say that to me?
Baja, yeah.
Hey, that's my dad. But yeah, I just thought they were being dumb
He's
because
my
it's from the
Baja.
movie. Yeah, so
Oh,
yeah.
we'll get you. We'll get you on track someday. You'll become a movie enjoyer. You'll be like doing Oscars predictions one day, and I feel it. All right, let's get back to Toronto.
Yeah.
So, we had Wolf winning, Wolfie Con Parish, and so
What could
everybody kind
also
of
be a movie.
at this point, honestly, it could be a movie from either play. It could be from like Marco's like biopic story perspective, but also from Wolf's. You can make a movie either way on this finals matchup, because for those who like don't understand how truly, I don't know, serendipitous it was that this matchup happened, and then they met again in the finals. Like, Marco was playing in the Grand Challenge, he was streaming it, and he runs into Wolf. He's like 13-1 or something, so he's high ladder, and he's excited that he gets to play against Wolf. And then he sees Wolf's team, and it's a Parish Trap team, and so you don't even have to speak Italian to understand. He goes, oh, Wolfie, oh, Wolfie con Parish, which Wolfie with Parish, right? And just like that meme got thousands of likes on it. And I remember I don't know if Katie had already was aware of it, or one of the casters had shown her before the weekend started or whatever. But like in the moment, our production team, we already knew about the Marco moment. So it was almost like we didn't. I still stand by the choice, regardless of streaming them in round 8 on day 1. But we almost didn't even have a choice because it was like the world aligned in that moment,
I mean, from my understanding, there wasn't a choice. Like,
Right.
which I think also, like, I don't know if I could have made that call. Like, I don't know if it was my decision if I would have picked that matchup, even though I think it was the right matchup to pick. So I'm glad there wasn't a choice. I'm like, you know what? Yep, it was awesome. Sometimes you just, like, got to trust in the universe. The universe literally throws you a bone. Sometimes you just got to be like, yep, you know what? We're not passing this up. Like, I think that worked out great.
No, absolutely. I think it was me and Len right away, because like for those who don't know how it works backstage, it's not always all of the casters available with our producer Katie or with our SME TJ or other. It's not like a 7-person job a lot of the time. So sometimes people are running to the lounge, like the host. Some people are switching out from behind the desk and sitting in like the rest area or whatever. And the round can go up at any time, so we can have 4 of us all sitting by the TVs, and the round goes up and we all work together, we look at it. But then other times, like, it could be up and only one person notices and they don't have 4 other people to talk to, so like you
Or
kind of
like
have
the
to.
two casters that are going to be casting that match are actually live on
Right.
broadcast vamping.
Yeah, so it's not all like, I think people kind of excuse me, assume that it's kind of a joint decision and we all universally adhere to this pick or whatever, but it doesn't always work out that way. It might literally be one person or only 2 people that had the availability
Yeah.
to select, and those, especially early rounds, like there's like 60 undefeated tables or something that in round 3 that you're looking through trying to find pairings, right? So like it can actually be difficult to have like the right call, and I feel like
Yeah.
people don't really understand how little time and how we're not usually as well coordinated as you might think.
Well, it's not even well coordinated. I think it literally is time. Like the amount of times where it's like you don't get a chance to see the TV, you don't get a chance anything because you're looking through all of this and you have people like standing by like we need a decision as of 30 seconds ago and like you're stuck in between a couple and it's like you're just like, okay, it's between these 3, and then it goes up to the higher ups to pick, or somebody's just like, okay, we're doing this one, and then like people can like disagree about it afterwards, and like because there definitely has been conversations behind the scenes, like, did we pick the right one? But
Yeah,
it's like at the same time, when you have 30 seconds to make this decision, like that's going to be your time to then process then after, right? So yeah, it like I think the stream selection was pretty decent over this weekend, and I know that there was definitely a lot of chatter about that match on the day 1, but it's there's a whole different conversation we can
yeah.
get into when you
Uh,
don't have an early flight, but it's
I'll
one of
stand. I'll
those
stand
things.
by it to my grave. I don't care. Yeah, we have the
Yeah,
rest of our
I
lives
think
to. Yeah.
I think realistically, if you look at what the goal of the broadcast is, there's a couple of different goals, but at the same time, if you're trying to showcase these storylines in an entertaining event with top players and top moments, it just kind of worked out really nicely.
It
Like
kind of
it,
couldn't have worked out any better if we
yeah,
tried, you know?
it's not like it was a whatever final round that was just like, let's pull this player that doesn't deserve it and like nothing happened. Like two players top of their game, both like all these talks about like who's the best player and like
Potentially the current two best Western players in the world. Potentially, you can make
so
the
no,
argument,
like I think
right?
like yeah, like that is the conversation. Like yeah, and then to see it again in the finals and how that worked out, like and then how different finals was
Yes,
than that, because that also set a wicked stage. Like that's one of those things that like the broadcast, like the script writers just handed it to you on a golden platter. Like round nine, it would have been you taking the flat like the platter and just like smacking it on the floor. Like they literally handed us a gift. So even if they're like if it was all the time that was like, let's repeat pull all these players, I could understand. But like sometimes there's going to be exceptions to the rules. And I think if you're smart about it, deliberate with it, it's only benefit. And this honestly was like crazy. I still like, oh my goodness. I was so like, so happy I got to cast that first off. Like, oh, I just have to throw that out there. I'm so sorry. I was just like, that
no,
was
you're
just like
good.
one of
You're
like
good.
those moments. Like,
I
that
was
was
happy.
so cool. That was so
It is a
cool. It was
bummer
such a match.
because it is a bummer because Wolf has won 3 regionals in the last calendar year, and I have not been able to cast any of those moments, which is just how the cookie crumbles, right? Charlotte, I was a player, so I wasn't working. Orlando, I was hosting, so I still got to be a part of it. Got to interview him on stage
Yeah.
and stuff. And then this one, I was casting the top 4 matches. So it would be fun to cast a Wolf final, but it's not the
Yeah.
end. It's not the end of the world. I was still a part of the run. I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll still be focused or showcased somehow in the YouTube
Yeah.
upload.
Yeah. It was like, what's like, I mean, you would get this. Like, there is like the region when you're looking at like the tiering of events, it's like regionals, internats, worlds, right? Like, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to be more nervous for worlds, all of that. I was like so nervous with like the ending of this match because as the play-by-play, you're responsible for that closing call. I was stressed. I was stressed for this match because I was like, this is historic. Like, and this is potential to be even more historic. Like first person 10 regional wins, right? But then I wasn't 1,000% sure if that was the number. And then I went in like my own research and like looking stuff up, and I couldn't find a ninth one somewhere. I
Yeah.
don't know where I was missing it, and I was panicked. I was like, I could not mess up this call. I could not mess up this call. And I'm like, I messaged Trailer, and I'm like, please let me know. I messaged the group chat, and I'm like, please let me know. And like, it was like nerve wracking. It was like unlike a different regional where you're like, I just got to make sure, like, yeah, let's crush it, let's have fun. I was just like, oh my God, if I blunder this call, I have messed up every single Pokemon Wolf video ever for the
Yeah.
rest of time. I like they're done. Like they're because they're going to do a video. Like I'm like they always have those like about the trainers. They're going to have some feature of Wolf, and there is going to be this call in that video, and I will screw it up for good. So yeah, I was nervous, but
Nah, I think you guys crushed it. I
it was
think
10.
especially with how crazy that finals match was. But we don't have to talk too
Yes.
much more on the Reg H since that's in the past, and unless we have some
No,
weird.
I want to talk a little bit more about that finals. Like,
Well, okay, I was going to talk about his team specifically, but you can talk about the
okay,
finals match. But yeah, go ahead.
okay, yeah. For the match, I was gonna say, like, what is so crazy is like how bad of a matchup that was for Marco. I I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that it was Marco and Wolf in the finals at first, I was really worried. I
Yeah,
even said it on broadcast. I kept commenting to Shake, and I was like,
Marco's friends in
after
the
it was like,
crowd were worried. I was watching top
yeah,
4 out in the crowd, and like they were very much like every highs and lows of like good moments for Wolf, bad moments for Wolf in that set were like the ups and downs. Like, oh, I have a chance. Oh, I have no chance. Oh, I have a chance. Oh, I have no chance.
yeah, like for Marco to bring that as close as it was, like I cannot remember specifics of matches, but like it definitely like wasn't like the fact that it was that close is crazy, and the fact that there actually is a very real possibility it could have gone a different way and it could have been Marco we're talking about right now is also just crazy. Like, I feel like people don't, not everyone has enough respect for Marco in that rate to understand just how bad of a matchup that was up against like arguably like one of, if not the best player of all time. Because it's not like it's a bad matchup, but like, oh, whatever, I'll just outplay. Like,
Yeah, you can't
yeah,
outplay Wolf.
like,
Yeah,
like, like there is moments like where you can, but there's also moments he's gonna outplay you because it's freaking Wolf, right? So that's also just crazy. So
yeah. I think that was, people might not understand, like, at a basic level, you can understand like water's good into fire, right? So therefore, this whole sun team is bad into a water team. But it was also, it's already inherently a bad matchup, and then you add Shadow Tag and Perish Song on top of it. I think if we just talk about Wolf's team real quick, he tends to when he breaks out Perish Trap, he does well with it. It's like a strategy. It's like it's kind of like in an anime, like they break out their final form, like the whole, like, oh, why'd you waste 20 minutes fighting, and then you go to the final form and then you're able to win, right? Like Perish Song or Perish Trap is Wolf's final form. He's won now 3 regionals with it, and the other event he brought it to was NAIC, and he got top 16. So that, like, the win conversion rate in his career with this
kind of nuts.
strategy is ridiculous. And I think the coolest thing with the Kingdra, excuse me, specifically, is that it wasn't just Kingdra, it was Kingdra Politoed. It was like, we're returning to normalcy. Like, this freaking Pelipper bird has dominated the Rain teams since Gen 7. Nobody understands the Politoed era. They don't appreciate cotton candy, shiny Politoed like they used to. Politoed shiny is way cooler than shiny Pelipper's is. Like, it felt like a return, excuse me, to an era that I played in and Gabby played in and Jake. Like, we were all very familiar with this Politoed Kingdra strategy, even with the Shadow Tag wrinkle.
What I think is really funny is like, since the beginning of the format, when we got to see things like Fraud Arena and all this other stuff, is people were like, there's no good water types and we have to dig so deep to find a good water type.
Yep.
And then Wolf just shows up with Kingdra and it's like, did you guys forget about it? Did you guys kind of forget?
Well, I don't know if we forgot. It was just, it wasn't good. It hasn't been good for
It hasn't been tested. Like, who's playing it?
Hold on. So it wasn't good in Gen 7 because it was a dragon type dominated by fairy tapus, and then it wasn't good in Gen 8, which there were moments where Kingdra actually had some viability in early Sword and Shield because of having Swift Swim and Max Airstream, but it didn't, because everything at 200% HP, Kingdra couldn't actually knock anything out, so Kingdra struggled in that spot. So this is just a perfect time, and I think Wolf even talks about it, this is just a perfect little microcosm moment that Kingdra can succeed because the power level is lessened because there's no legendaries around. So Kingdra being able to do damage with Life Orb, Draco Meteor, it's able to get one shots on things that it's not going to be able to in Reg G, right? So it's why it's just perfect for this moment.
But like, I feel like unless like there's stuff that I'm missing, because like it is late and I've been out of Pokemon since Toronto, still a turkey brain over here, but like it would have been good a month ago in this regulation. It would have been good 2 months ago in this regulation. It's like, obviously, like, it wasn't really before this regulation. It could have been good because of like other more powerful Pokemon, but like, I'm kind of surprised that we kind of landed on like Charizard before, anyone really pulled out a Kingdra, and now Charizard's been around for a while. You always hear like with these metas of like, or people will talk about team building, they're like, oh, really scraped the bottom of the barrel and really went diving and I found this thing, and I just, like, Kingdra just went under the radar completely.
I think, I don't know.
When Pelipper has been so strong, obviously Wolf didn't pair it with Pelipper, but like, we've had Rain. Like,
but he's been using different stuff, right? It's been Basculegion, so now we need Intimidate, and we need all these other, we need normal types, and we need all the, grass types and these other things, and it's Archaludon, which we need a ground type and to ignore the Electro Shot, and maybe a fairy type to ignore Draco Meteor or whatever. So like, it's not been the conventional quote unquote Rain abuser the way that Kingdra or Politoed or even Golduck in Gen 7 was. Like, it's like my favorite part of Wolf's team here is the Archaludon because it's the same power herb sturdy Terra Electric set that he used in Louisville, which is like I think is cool because we saw him not bring Archaludon a lot of games on stream, and it totally made sense where other rain teams are reliant on that Archaludon extra damage from Electro Shot, where with Power Herb, he doesn't even need to bring the rain to use it. He just uses Electro Shot one time, and now he's +1 flash cannons for the rest of the game, you know? So, like, I like seeing him keep that Terra Electric Archaludon from the Yon Mega team or whatever in Louisville, and now, like, bringing it over to a Perish Trap core.
Yeah, like this whole team in general, like I don't know. Man, people let me down with the fact that there was not anything remotely similar to this until now. Nobody went for Perish, nobody went for Kingdra Rain, and like what's pisses me off about all that is I have hated this regulation since the start. I have wanted
Now
nothing
that it's
more
over, we can
than
go
the
back to
regulation to be done. Like, I just wanted it to be done because it was like, okay, well, sometimes you get a fun team, but then it's so boring because it's like, here's your Pelipper and your Archaludon and your Electroshot. Oh, it's raining. You get to do this instantly. We've gotten such boring things. And now we get to the final event, and Wolf pulls out this team. Marco still is with like he's used this team for a bit, but it's still a fun team, still different than the rest. And it's like, okay, maybe there was still room to explore. We just decided to all land on all the boring stuff. And
well
now, like, now it's gone.
the best part about going back to Reg G, moving on Happy New Year, Sierra, because we no longer have to be a Sneasler neutral podcast because Sneasler is irrelevant. So we don't have to avoid the conversations about how much we hate Sneasler because you're not going to see it anymore.
Did you hear my comment on stream where I said something along the lines of like, "Oh, I really love Sneasler." Like, I was like, it was, you know, like it wasn't entirely drifting in sarcasm because I wanted to keep it like friendly, but I was talking about, I don't know, something Sneasler, and I was talking about how much I love some good Sneasler gameplay, and like, yeah. And then
I
it's funny
did.
because it's like, you know, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know exactly. But I just wanted to point out in the 2 Victory Road challenges, one that took place right before Christmas and one right before New Year's, that our guy Joe Garte talked about how great Sneasler was going to be when Reg G comes back. And sure, we haven't had an event yet, so I'll reserve for San Antonio. If somebody has some busted Miraidon Sneasler core in San Antonio, I will reserve my my points there to see if it's true or not. But in these 2 VR events, there's not a Sneasler in sight in these top cut finishes. So I don't know. Our boy Ugarte is not looking so hot here.
I don't know what to tell you. There's no defending. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I think there'll be a couple of Sneasler kicking around. Do I necessarily think they'll be good? No, that's what Urshifu's for. But I don't know. I think it'll be a Pokemon that they'll be like on a couple of niche teams.
Do you think that there is any Pokemon from Reg H that could find a footing that necessarily didn't have, for example, like I know Volcarona like kind of had its moment at Worlds, but it wasn't like I think there was the one European event where Volcarona was like 27% usage. Like, do you think Volcarona could stay? Do you think this loaded dice Scale Shot Dragonite set like is going to stick around in Reg G? Or is there anything from Reg H that could influence Reg G?
So I think like there'll be the niche couple of Sneasler teams because I do think that like Unburdened with like all the different terrain options and stuff out there, especially with having like I don't think you'll see Poison Touch ever again.
Yeah,
But I think having a poison type into things like Rillaboom running everywhere and having just a strong fighting type in
and all
general
the Ogerpons.
is good. Yeah. And then the fact that, because if you have Urshi Water and then you're like, oh, well, I have a fighting type on this, but you're just going to get bodied by a Rillaboom, whereas Caesar can actually threaten. I think there'll be a couple of that. I think we'll be saying, I think there might be like a couple of maybe like Magmars around, but I think we'll be saying goodbye to a lot of that sort of stuff. I think it's more so like a lot of these things that you're talking about sticking around are things that we do get to see kind of sometimes anyways, just depending on like the team archetype. Like Volcarona, I think, has been pretty popular in LATAM, like throughout like different regulations. It's just like how the team's built. The Dragonite is one that I think will be especially curious because I do think Skill Shot can threaten a lot into the format, but we got to see the adaptation from early, like it depends on where we kind of hit back with Reg G. Because early Reg G for Miraidon, we saw a lot more of like the electric types and stuff to really just be able to utilize that electric type. But then later on, especially with the threat of other Miraidons, it turned into more Terra Fairy, which is like, eesh. I think too, where that comes a little bit weird is if you're looking at Dragonites, there's Dragonites in the past that wouldn't even really have a dragon move or like stuff because Flutter Mane. And
Yeah.
obviously then you're looking at Flutter Mane coming on back. So you're going to be looking at coverage for that. So I think that there is the utility that could maybe be seen, but I think if anything, this regulation could maybe open people's minds up to having a couple of Pokemon be a bit different than the norm, and it's not always going to be that same set. So might see a little bit more split to Dragonites going on forward, a little bit more split with your Follow Me, and yeah, hopefully that could be the legacy that Reg H carries on.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's not going to be Miraidon and Urshifu, and like you're not going to have a Pokemon that was good in, Hisuian Typhlosion is not going to replace Koraidon in the meta, right? Like, so that stuff is not going to work. But the supportive Pokemon that found their niche in Reg H, think about most Reg H, we weren't even using Clefairy, and look how huge Clefairy was in Reg G in LA and leading up to Worlds and stuff. And like some of those supported Pokemon like Magmar and Electabuzz, and especially I think Sinistcha is going to be on the rise when we get back into Reg G. I think a lot of people have started to understand how valuable not only having a Trick Room resetter, because most of the time it's not like just a pure Trick Room team, but like negating Trick Room as well as Hospitality, as well as Redirection to keep your Shifu or Flutter Mane healthy. Like, I hope people start to bring the Sinistchas, but those supported Pokemon, Volcarona you mentioned, I think that's where this format can have its leave its mark, not like the offensive threats.
I've been looking through the Toronto teams as we've been talking. Did you know a Prime Ape got 83rd spot?
No, what is it? Eviolite? Let me.
Yeah. I
Oh my
did look
god!
for that because I was like, maybe they just forgot how to like they couldn't evolve it in time.
They didn't get the 20 KOs on the Rage Fist or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Nope, it is Eviolite. So that I think is hilarious. I love that.
Oh, that is awesome! Imagine you sit down round one of a regional and you had to face Eviolite Primate.
He was looking at it like, huh? Abomasnow, 39.
Oh, what
Um,
about Alolan Ninetales? That had a total glow up in Reg H to like not just being a defensive like Encore Aurora Veil Pokemon. It was like Choice Specs Blizzards. Like there's still a lot of Dragon types out there that Alolan Ninetales would like to click Blizzard into.
yeah, I think with that one though, it's like I think when you enter the restricted format, it's a little bit more like Protect the President.
Yeah,
So, especially with the high base powers of those, I could see us like I still think that maybe there could be like a little special attack investment and that sort of stuff so the Ninetales can get like an attack off because obviously even just hitting like a half week blizzard to break Sash on a Pokemon. Sturdy, if it's Cornerstone Ogerpon, I think is really good. But I do think they'd probably go a little bit more back to supportive for those teams that would even run it. Personally, I think we
yeah.
say goodbye to Kilowattrel. Goodbye, Kilowattrel.
Adios.
You're not coming back. Goodbye, Delphox. What I'm actually intrigued about is Indeedee male versus female. Because in this regulation, we saw that
Ooh,
complete turnover. It's literally the plot of Barbie. The woman had taken over the
it's the
world. It was
Indeedee
Barbie's
male
world.
Casa Dojo.
And
Yeah,
then Indeedee Ken was like, nah, it's
I
it's
love it.
the Indeedee male's time. And then they've taken over. So,
I do
yeah.
want to say, shout out to my friend Tommy Cooling getting, was it top? He got 33rd, so he just missed top 32 with a Rain Armarouge team with Weather Ball, Life Orb Weather Ball for You know, like they switch in Incineroar because resist fire and immune to psychic, right? Okay, well, weather ball
Weather
in the
ball.
rain, life orb, adios Incineroar. So, yeah. Are there any last thoughts on your goodbyes? Say your goodbyes to Reg G.
You mean
I
to H?
or Reg H, excuse me. I like that both Ursalunas were like 45% of the meta, so I like them. So I will miss that. But besides that, we're back on to Reg G.
All right, my final words to Reg H. Man, it's like you had the potential to be such a cool format if it wasn't for Sneasler. But in the end, Sneasler aside, there was still some good things about you that maybe overlooked till the end. And now that we are going back to a restricted format, I might miss you just a little bit. And I will never, ever, ever forgive Sneasler for being around because it ruined what could be the greatest thing.
This is the craziest eulogy I have ever heard. Could you imagine you're at like your uncle's like funeral and somebody's like, he was a great guy. He made you laugh. He cheated on his wife. He failed. He didn't file taxes for 10 years, but like he was a fun guy. That's what you're saying right
I
now.
was thinking of more along the lines of like, like toxic relationship or like a toxic friend or whatever. And it's like, man, you're actually such a cool person, except you're actually like really rude to like service workers and stuff. So like we can't
Like, you
be
leave bad
friends.
tips. Yeah.
But it's like kind of a shame because like other than that, you were kind of cool. But like I just can't overlook that because you were really rude that one time we went out to the restaurant. It was really embarrassing and like we just can't be friends anymore. But like other than that, you were kind of cool. So yeah, that's how I was thinking about it.
All right. Well, adios, Reg H. We're back to Reg G. We have 4 months to
Yep.
talk about this format that we've already spent 4 months playing before. So I'm sure it's going to be a fun time on the podcast for the next couple of months. Let's head. Let's start closing it out since I do have a flight to catch
Yep.
as we're recording, and because we love you guys, we missed out a couple weeks celebrating the holidays. We're actually going to have 2 questions of the week this time around. Dun, 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 surprise! Instead of 1. Is that because only 2 people asked us questions? Maybe. That could possibly be why. And we don't want to choose between them because they're both such great questions of the week. But if you ever are interested in asking us a question at the end of every podcast, it's not to be VGC related or competitive related or anything. Ask us. Join our Discord, linked in the description below. Join the Discord and ask in the question of the week channel. Our first one is from Aldrich Jan, and his question is, what is your 2025 New Year's resolution for yourselves and for the channel?
All right. I think for the channel, there's not anything like super like, oh my gosh. I like making funny thumbnails. I want to try and keep one-upping the funny thumbnails because I've had a lot of fun with that, and I think there's a lot of room to grow there. And maybe just be a little bit more organized with like how we talk about stuff in episodes sometimes. Because I'd feel a little bit better about that content-wise. But yeah, no, I think maybe if anything, like work a little bit more into like getting like other graphic stuff done. I know we've talked about like a different logo or like that sort of stuff. Work on like that sort of parts of the channel.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely love, maybe like by the 2-year anniversary, if we have a new logo or something, that gives us some time to procrastinate a little bit.
I have a really cool logo idea, by the way. Very simple, very sleek.
Okay.
Remind me to try and write it out sometime.
I got you. Yeah, I would say for the channel specifically, I was trying to get a push to 2,000 subscribers before the year ended, but I would always say at the end of the podcast, I would forget to tell people to subscribe at the beginning. So I feel like it didn't actually help at all. So we fell about 100 subscribers short of 2,000 for the year, but that's on me, I feel like. So I guess my goal for the channel is for us to hit 3,000 subscribers this year, which I think is doable. If we stay consistent, have some big guests on and whatnot. I think our outreach can grow to 3,000 subscribers. I would also like us to have other guests on that aren't just VGC like, you know, so, but they still have to know VGC and still have to be able to have that conversation with it. But like some of our TCG friends, like Juancho is a TCG caster, but he's played and cast in VGC events in Asia, and like, you know, Chip's a TCG caster, but he's played in premier challenges in VGC, and he's like undefeated in them. You know, like some of our Unite friends or Go friends that have a little crossover between the different games. I think that'd be fun to get some non VGC guests on the pod.
Okay, I love Wancho, love Chip. So, oh, and I have one more about the channel. But to be better about interacting with community.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like even like there was a post in the Discord, like they're like, oh, like I think it was Fendi. It was like, oh, I went to like this event, and like somebody had like an OHKO sticker on their Switch case, like on the Switch dock, and it was just like, what? Like that's so cool. Like it was seen like out in the wild, you know,
Yeah.
and like. I don't know, like it means like I don't really care about like the number of things, like in terms of like subs or viewers. Like I just care more about like what people think. And I think like the reception to this podcast and like it's just been really, really nice. And I want to do a better job of like actually like showing my appreciation for that, because like it's really cool that people listen to this every week. And like sometimes we're a little bit more unhinged than usual in episodes, cue 20-minute detour about movies, you know, but people still come up to us at events and talk about it and want a sticker, and like I don't know, like that's very cool. That means a lot. There's people that talk in the Discord. Like if anyone ever needs anything in Pokemon, I'm always like, have you joined the server? Like
Yeah.
there's actually some phenomenally nice people there. Like they're amazing. So yeah, I want to do a better job of appreciating that and having people know that I appreciate them.
That's good. That's a good one to have. Now, personal goals, New Year's resolutions for 2025. I mean, I feel like a lot of times just stays the same. Like I would like to get paid to commentate another game that's not Pokemon to pay some bills. I did technically get paid casting League of Legends grassroots scenes this year, but it's not like it was like a paycheck, you know what I mean? It was like a little appreciation for the investment that I put casting those. So just a little bit of pocket change. So I guess that'd be my big thing is this year again, try to get another thing. This is the year 2XKO is coming out, the fighting game for League of Legends. So I want to be in on that on the ground floor, try to stream, try to get in part of the FGC. And, you know, I know I've been talking with some other caster friends that we all want to day one from, you know, jump right into that game and try to do commentary for it. So hopefully that's my thing is to cast 2XKO at some point this year.
Hopefully you get that chance. That'd be cool. Looks like a cool game too. So
yeah.
Hell yeah. For myself for New Year's resolutions, I'm trying to stay away from like end goal things because I want to try and have this be the year that I build up the habits and like the efforts to have like long-term stuff. So it's like I want to get better about my own fitness and health. I want to get better about like content. I want to get better about like my own casting ability, but I don't want to put like a goal like be on VCT, like tier 1, because like that, like there's a really good chunk of it that's out of my control. So I think in general, it's going to be to put more effort into every facet of my life. Every day work on my language skills. I'm learning like 4 different languages right now. So every day work on that a little bit. Every day work on my content plan a little bit. Every day do some sort of workout or be conscious about my health. And if I could do those every day, I'll see results that are way beyond whatever I could put a goal for. So that is my New Year's resolution. Put more effort.
And hit Emerald in TFT.
God, I don't know, man. Like
you could do
it.
Have faith.
I got 6th place with a Twitch 3. Tell me how that even happens.
How? What was your front line?
I don't. Dog water, apparently. I didn't think it would matter how bad it was. I have a Twitch 3 fully itemized.
That is fair. I have definitely lost some games where like, how, look at my board, look at their board. How did I lose? So I'm sorry for your loss.
I just don't understand this game. You know what's happening now? People are doing COG 3 with stone plates, I think Warmogs, and then Rage Blade.
Oh, to give it time to ramp up? Yeah. No,
not time. They put it on the front line.
Well, because if you get auto attacked on the front line, yeah, you generate the mana faster.
Yeah, no, I hate it.
Okay.
Did
Well,
you like? Do you know the look on my face? I was not paying attention to the games. Where I'm finally like start paying a little bit more attention because we're getting to like like kind of gotta really pay attention. And I look down and there's this Cogmog on the front line. And I was like, oh, they must have misplaced that. Then I look at the items and I'm like, what is bro doing? What bro was doing was absolutely just annihilating me. It was crazy. I've never like
I love it.
I don't know. It was terrible. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get Emerald, but yeah.
I have faith. You have a whole year to do it. It doesn't have to be this set, you know? It could be the next
That's
set.
true. Maybe next set. I've like seen like the previews of what the sets will be. I think they look very cute and I'm excited for that. I like
Oh,
the cuter sets.
I will say another goal, personal, is I do want to play like in a competitive Unite tournament at least once. Like I know last
Ooh.
year I tweeted out that me and Caleb, the GoCaster Caleb Pang, like we made a Unite team, but like we didn't really get any traction with any other like casters or other people we wanted to play with. So like personally, I would really think it'd be fun if like we just had 5 casters dedicate a month to learning and playing Unite like as a cohesive team and join a battle hub, Unite tournament or something like. I think that would just be fun.
Well, one thing that I want to do with the resolution with the try harder is I want to put more of an effort with my YouTube content. And not just VGC playing videos because I think they're boring. I want to put effort into stuff like I want to do. So they'd be like all different facets of like Pokemon stuff. So could do a video along there, which is
Okay,
like, like
you can hear me screaming in
I
the background.
I try harded Pokemon Unite for a month and then entered a tournament. This is how it went. And then we could do like the video like up like this is our team, this is how bad we are, and then like do
Right,
little snippets of the practice and then we
and we
enter
could
the
be on
tournament.
the
How does that
Unite
go?
the Battle Hub stream. They stream all their
Yeah.
matches. Like they have our
Yeah.
match streamed and stuff. Like, oh, the content. It's
Yeah, and
making
then
me
do like
so.
a whole little video like that. It's like the Michelle Care videos.
Yeah,
I would like I did this. I trained like a professional firefighter. Like I trained like a professional Unite player, and then we can do that.
I'm down. I'm down. All right, we'll
Okay,
hit up Caleb. We'll make it. We only
yeah.
need 2 more people. That's the great thing.
We only
We're
need two
already
more.
already at 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, here's our other question of the week. This one coming from Queenie, and this is more commentary related than New Year's resolution. So Queenie asking us to continue the theme. What's one thing you learned as casters in 2024 that you hope to take into the new year? You want to go first? You want me to go first? What are you feeling?
Sure, I can go first. One thing that I learned with the commentary, from listening back to my own commentary, and then comparing it with that of like other games and like what I've been studying in their commentary, what I've learned is that like I think everyone is crushing it on the team. I feel like there's like it's like the path in the forest. Like this is the traveled path. This is the proven path. This is like what works. This is like what the standard is. And then I feel like there is that off path, which is like going into a different style of commentary. And I don't know. I kind of want to trailblaze and try out a little bit of a different way on how to talk about the game and stuff. Whether it's something that can work, I don't know. Obviously, that would be very experimental and could definitely like very much so flop. But I think from listening to the other games, I feel like they're like we've like I think the team does so well with the commentary. I think there's one step further that would make it so much more like the other esports. Like when you're talking about those arenas and the selling out and how those casters are like World League of Legend Worlds and Pokemon Worlds, like there's still a difference in level, right? And
Yeah.
like that's what I want to like tap into that and figure out how. Like I think Aaron is like the closest we got to that. I think like I want to figure out his style of casting and then like tweak it a little bit. And I think that there could be a really cool way to like story tell and do the players a lot of justice from that. So that is what I've learned is that I don't want to fit into the mold. I want to push out of it. And that is what I want to do. That's the resolution for the new year.
Okay. I can see it. I can see we
Hmm.
can improve there. I think for me, one of the things that I started in Louisville that I was like happy to actually start trying to build up that skill was the toss to breaks and speaking through break, which you see in traditional sports a lot that we don't really do in Pokemon. And I hope that's like a skill as a team we can start to try to do more often and work with our director and work with, like, as a whole, we all, if you're on play by play, you can start to hone that skill and take those things. So I'm taking that with me into the next year. Like I always talk with Cameron whenever we're at events, like, are we doing tosses to break? And he's like, yep, I'll count you down. And so getting better at, because I'm not supposed to talk when he says one, but I still every time say one. And so I'm supposed to be done by two. And I like sometimes, I got to be a little tighter. So I want to improve that and more of those ancillary, side abilities as a commentator, like like the toss to break, or the like being better at ad reads, or being better at like the toss to the stage, or getting better at the timing from like the player A's team, the transition to his team, and tosses in matches to the start of game 2 or the start of game 3, and getting better at closing calls, and always being proud of that I'm ending a match on a high note. So like some of those like side, less important aspects of commentary, but still are definitely important to make yourself a well-rounded caster. I want to work on those.
When you're talking about like the 1-2, he's counting you down to like go send 2 break, or is that from break?
So it's like, all right, let's say we just had, I don't know, Marco beats Joe in round 7, and so he'll be like, all right, and we're going to break, and so he'll start a replay of like Marco standing up, shaking Joe's hand or whatever, and the countdown is how long the replay is. So I have, if he's like 7, 6, 5, that means that slow motion replay is 7 seconds long, and because of how the TD has to transition on 1, I have to be done by 2, so that you don't have my audio cut off halfway through 1. Because you don't want the still frame of the replay. You want to be out before the replay is over. And the only reason I knew this is because of my traditional sports background. When I was working at MLB Network, we'd have to have these out times on clips, and like you'd have to write how long it was and what time the broadcast needed to be out before the still frame came up and stuff. So I think it's a good skill if you want to try it at your next event. It's like, it's fun, like the race of like, okay, I have 6 seconds to have like a good toss to break here. Like, what can I say that, makes it more fun? It just adds a little bit more flavor to the broadcast, I feel.
I I haven't done one of those for Pokemon. That's why I was confused, because I don't know, like, I'm trying to think, because like I know like what you're talking about, and I've had them for other games, but I was confused when you brought it up for Pokemon, because I can't recall ever doing one. So that's
because I did it at Louisville for the first time, and I also did it for my matches in Toronto. You wouldn't have heard it because the one time we casted together, you tossed to the wiener in the lounge, so we didn't get a chance to toss to break.
Other New Year's resolution: do more dumb stuff like that, where I'm like, am I gonna get in trouble? That was worth it.
No, that was worth it. That was
yeah.
By the way, we did not know Jesse was a hot dog again. When we picked that match,
God, yes.
We just picked Canadians. We're like, oh, okay, this is a good match. This should be a good story. And look at the teams. And then, like, he came through for us dressed up as a hot dog again.
Dude, your timing, too, with, like, wasn't he, like, a hot dog? And then he's, like, as a hot dog. It was just, like, immaculate. Because, like, I had absolutely no clue. And, like, I'm friends with Jesse. So, like, I thought I would have known. And I had, like, made, like, jokes, like, I have a shark costume. You want to borrow that? I have a dinosaur. Like, what are you going to do? And not once did he say that he was going to be a hot dog. Like, so that was awesome. But another resolution that I want to do, this one, like the wiener comment reminded me, but, something that I've talked about with a couple of Valorant people a lot, like a couple of broadcast people, was like my own journey with broadcasting and where I could kind of improve, which I think it's really funny because when I look at Pokemon, like, I don't think that I have issues having some sort of personality, but it's actually really interesting because when I look at other games and even how it gets projected in other games, I'm a lot quieter than anyone else. I'm a lot more strict. I'm a lot more technical. I'm very like, this is the show, this is the segments. Your guys are getting off track. I have to reel this back in. which is then really funny because like in Pokemon, like the host is like trying to do something and I'm like, how can I derail something right about now? Like what can I do to cause issues? And then that was the kind of conversation was where I could take broadcasting next, and they're like, not everything has to be perfect. You just need to have a bit more of a personality. Like,
Yeah.
so that was something that was a lot of thought for other things. And for Pokemon, I haven't had it the most thought about it because I haven't felt that issue with Pokemon as much, but it has made me reflect a little bit more about like my personality and how that comes across on broadcast and all that stuff. So that's a more overall general broadcasting thing.
Yeah, I think having like a strong personality obviously is important for the broadcast and for entertaining the audience, but also like it also keeps you relevant in conversations or times when you're not casting, right? Like think about Captain Flowers, the League of Legends commentator. He's been a Skarner one trick his in the entirety of League of Legends, and then Skarner gets reworked, and now he is the big guy all the casters look to for Skarner tips and stuff on commentary because he's never played for 10 years, and now he's like a first pick or ban jungler for an entire season. And like even matches that Captain Flowers was not casting, people would still bring him up when they were talking about Skarner because of that personality that he built with them. Like he had a joke about in Ornn, who's another League of Legends champion for those who don't know, and wanted to make like a trucker Ornn skin that like Ornn's ultimate, he shoots out this big thing. He wanted to turn it into a big like truck and like have like a truck hat and everything. And when Riot announced that new skin, they had Captain Flowers announce it because he was like the guy associated
He's
with
the
that
guy.
meme skin, right? And
Yeah.
I think I've been fortunate, like you have Slitherwing, obviously, you have other, connections, Piplup and whatnot, and I've had like moments where, I was all in on Cornerstone, right? I was a big Ogerpon Cornerstone guy, and I had like one time my mom like messaged me, she's like, "Man, they're talking about you. You're not even casting this match because Ogerpon Cornerstone put in a lot of work in that match. I think it was a Worlds match." And so, like having those type of things, those little things for the audience to like still have you in their brain even when you're not on the mic is good for your personality.
I think for like where I meant it too was just like, why am I that person for the job? Specifically, like when I had the conversations about hosting for Valorant. So then it's like I'm very strong technically. Like when you're talking about the countdowns, like I don't feel necessarily as much of a struggle with that because like my job for Valorant has been hosting and has been those timings. But then where I do struggle is like, well, why am I in this role in comparison to someone else? If someone else can do the technicals, but then they're also more fun, then what's the point of having me? So that's kind of more so where I look at it too. So same thing with like Pokemon, like we have a talented team. Any one of the team could go there and sit and call the match and call this play by play and do all of this stuff and do this analysis. Anyone on the team can do that. That's why we're all part of the team, right? So then like what's different than when I do it?
Yeah.
Like why am I deserving of that spot in like how I call it or anything else? Like that personality to make it something better the broadcast with like that personality, like your jokes, like the hot dog comments we were doing. I think that's a perfect example of it because any one of like anybody on the team could call that match,
Yeah.
right? And then we're like, okay, we're going to take it a step further and we're going to make some ridiculous jokes, absolutely ridiculous jokes. Like, I think at one point you're the cause, like, I know you had your like relish joke,
Oh,
your
relish and
ketchup
victory.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. One time during the match when there's a KO, I was like, hot dog, or like something stupid. But it's those moments. That's the personality. And
Yeah.
like, that's what I want to tap into.
Yeah. It's like anybody could cast this match, but they can't cast it the way we did, right?
This is
And
really
the
unfortunate
value
times, and
added.
my AirPod just died. But I think my other
No,
one's
okay.
charged.
We're gonna end anyway at this point because we've been going out for a while and I got a fight to catch. But I still have to pack because I'm the worst. But I knew I had time while this was uploading, so I was like, I was actually being smart instead of packing before and then sitting here twiddling my thumbs as it uploaded. I was like, I'll pack while it uploads. So, but yeah, I'll just to end that point was there's a difference between like anyone can cast this match versus like I feel like this match is more valuable or more entertaining because of what me being a part of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So I think that's a good thing. We can end on that one. Thank you for your questions of the week. Thank you to everybody supporting us in 2024. Here's to 2025. I'm very sad I didn't start the podcast by saying I haven't talked to you since last year. It's always my favorite bit. It's always it's a stupid one. I literally texted my friend at 11:56. I said, "This is the last text message I'm sending in 2024." And then at 12:01, I said, his name's also Joe. I was like, "Hey, Joe, haven't talked to you since last year. Haha, got him." And he was like, "Shut up,"
Good.
you know. So that's always a favorite. But anyway, thank you all for supporting us here on OHKO. We are back better than ever. 2025 going to be a great time for the podcast. Anyone going to Bandai Card Fest in Orlando this weekend? I'll be there. Come say hi. I'm sure we have Pokemon and One Piece, Digimon, you know, whatever crossovers. So make sure you say hi to me. But we'll be back next week with another episode. For now, signing off. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you next week on OHKO.